Hello friends, welcome back to Technique, and today we'll be doing the camera review of the new Redmi 12 5G. Now we have two devices, the Redmi 12 5G and Redmi 12 4G as well. Now there are some differences, we'll talk about the differences in a different video, but right now we have the Redmi 12 5G device with us. This is the first device in India with the Snapdragon 4 Gen 2 platform. It's a new chipset announced by Snapdragon, or rather Qualcomm, with the 4 nanometer manufacturing process. So in the budget segment we are seeing 4 nanometer Snapdragon 4 Gen 2, and this comes with a 50 megapixel dual camera setup, and there are a couple of things which is missing on this camera. We'll talk about that, and we also get an 8 megapixel selfie camera included. So let's go into the camera review. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's first talk about the hardware. Now the Redmi 12 5G comes with a dual camera setup. It is a 50 megapixel primary sensor and you get f1.8 aperture. The secondary camera is a 2 megapixel depth sensor. There is no ultra wide nor you get a macro sensor. So this is just for portraits, and the primary camera is a 50 megapixel shooter. Now on the front panel you get an 8 megapixel shooter with f2.0 aperture. So it's a very minimal camera setup. There is no ultra wide, no macros, the primary camera and the selfie camera alone, and along with that you get this depth sensor for portraits. So let's go straight into the camera samples to see how good the performance is for this price segment. So first let's have a look at the daylight capture. So looking at the daylight captures, what you could notice is there is good amount of details, decent level of sharpness levels too. The colors are quite okay, but the white balance is slightly off in some of the pictures, and there is not a real good consistency in terms of picture quality, but nevertheless at this price segment we won't complain. Overall the daylight shots have come quite good. There is good amount of dynamic range as well. Even when you zoom in, there is decent amount of details as well, but there is a bit of noise in daylight captures as well. But overall I would say at this price segment the Redmi 12 5G does quite good and will not disappoint most of the users unless you are really camera centric. Now if you look at the close-up shots, once again there is good amount of details. The colors are definitely realistic and natural looking. There is no oversaturation issues or color boosting issues. You can see that more or less looking natural in terms of color reproduction, and even the detailing and sharpness levels are also quite good, but it does miss out on the ultra wide angle camera and also the macro sensor. Now looking at the portraits, while the skin tones are definitely good and the colors are definitely done well, but the edge detection isn't that impressive, and also in some portraits you can see that there is a issue of image getting blurred, but overall we feel there is still scope for improvement in the portraits. Now looking at the low light captures, in indoor lights and in under artificial light, it does produce decent looking images. There is good amount of details and sharpness levels as well, and the noise level it kept to minimum. But when you go to extreme low light or indoor light without enough artificial light, you can see that there is definitely noise, and even when it comes to extreme low light you can see that there is too much of noise included. That's quite obvious at this price segment. You won't get a really great low light experience at this price segment. Now let's move on to the selfie camera. This is one area where the 8 megapixel camera does pretty good job. The skin tones are good, spot on, and even the details are good. The colors are once again done pretty good. So Xiaomi has done a quite good job with the selfie camera. I would say in the budget segment this is definitely good selfies, and even the low light selfies came out quite decent. There is good sharpness levels as well. Now the portrait selfies are good, but edge detection isn't that impressive, but overall we would say it's quite acceptable. Now moving on to the video recording, there is just one format available, that's 1080p at 30 fps, and it does not come with electronic image stabilization included, and the video quality could have been better. There is a bit of too much of contrast in the video, and you can also see the dynamic range isn't that impressive, and colors look a bit too dull. There is definitely scope for improvement in the video recording. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the Redmi 12 5G. It can record videos only in 1080p resolution, so you can judge how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output from the front camera. So that was a camera review of the new Redmi 12 5G. So summing up, how good is the camera? We would say for this price segment it does a quite good job. The daylight captures are good, the close-up images are good, the selfies are good, and the portraits are kind of okayish. I would say it definitely needs better edge detection. And low light I would say it's again very much average, because this is a budget segment. You can't expect some exceptional low light. So with adequate lighting it does perform decently well, but when it is under extreme low light you could definitely see a lot of noise. And selfie camera was actually pretty good, I would say. The skin tones and details were quite good. And the video recording, I would say not that great, because there is a bit too much of contrasty nature, and there is no stabilization offer. That could have been included. I would say electronic image stabilization could have been provided. So overall, I would say it's a camera that won't disappoint as such in this price segment, in the budget segment. But if you're looking for some really great quality shots, I would say you should be upgrading to and the next price segment. Maybe in that segment you would be getting better results, but at this price segment I would say it's a decent performing camera. So that is the camera review of the Redmi 12 5G. So what do you guys think about the camera? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.